205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well and hope you guys got a little bit more rest than I did. I just was joking around with Chase about yesterday. Reed, I had the weirdest thing, man. Like, when I tell you, I've been rolling, been doing a whole bunch. Got a million things going on right now. Then you got this heat. So I could tell, man, I've been getting worn down. I've just been tired, right? And so last night, I'm the type of person, man, when I get worn down, like in the evenings, I kind of just settle in and I just start kind of dozing off. You see that recliner right behind me, man? That thing is golden. I've told the story before. I won it. Here, let me just, whoops. There we go. Now you guys can see it a little bit. Now, I didn't win it, right? But in college, they used to give bowl gifts. I don't even know if it's still a thing. These guys make so much money. They probably could care less could not care less. For us, it was like Christmas, Reed, right? You make it to a bowl game, you make it to the SEC championship game, they give you a catalog, and it's like, hey, you got X amount of points. You remember how this works? You might have had something like this in high school, man, with a fundraiser. You might have like 20 points, and you got the big ticket items, it might be like 10 points, a 7-point system, a 5, you know what I mean? Then you can kind of pick and choose. Well, the recliner was always the big boy, Reed, and it pretty much took like all your points. And so like, a lot of guys were like, I don't want to use all my points. They had like Beats headphones, wireless chargers, backpacks, like random stuff you could choose from. So anyway, the smart choice is the more mature you get, you pick the recliner. That was a bowl gift from when I was in college, and it's still my favorite chair to this day. Anyway, I normally just sit in that, and then when I'm tired, man, I'll pass out in the chair. It's never a good idea because then I always wake up and I'm like, crap, I need to go to bed. That happened yesterday. But this time, Reed, I could not go back to sleep. Like, I just was sitting there for like what felt like hours. Not even what felt like hours. It legit was hours. So I say all this to say, guys, bear with me. I'm probably going to forget some names. I'm probably going to butcher some, I don't know, a lot of different things probably. Maybe I shouldn't speak that into existence. But just a heads up, if I'm a little sloppy or a little choppy, just know my sleep was like way off. I looked at the clock and it was like 4:30 and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I turned on the rain sound effects. And I take pride, Reed. I've gotten really good with like my deep breathing techniques, really, calming the nervous system, calming your body, kind of preparing for bed. Bro, my cheat code wasn't working. I'm like, man, I'm doing the deep breathing, the rain sound effects. I'm like, I don't know what else there is to do at this point. Then I don't know, other than let God take the wheel. Finally fell asleep and then woke up and I'm like, man, it's gonna be a long day. So that's where we're at. The good news is we got plenty to talk about. We're going to listen to Ryan Grubb. He spoke to the media yesterday. We, however, did not get a chance to listen to it. It came in a little bit late. Plus, we had the man Jimmy Stein with us yesterday, which you guys are really enjoying, which I'm really enjoying, by the way. So big shout out to you guys who recommended us getting Jimmy on the show. Again, he will join us weekly to discuss all things Alabama football. And he does a phenomenal job, man. I totally understand why you guys are big fans of Jimmy Stein, man. He's great. He's great. And he's awesome as a guest. So we really appreciate him joining us. If you guys missed that, go check out yesterday's show. You can catch our interview with Jimmy, and we touched on everything coming from Scrimmage 1. And I'm going to play a clip from something he said yesterday, Reed. I posted the what is it called, a reel from that conversation where Jimmy was talking about the quarterback battle, and it was the last question that we asked him. And I thought, personally, man, the way he framed it, the way he presented it, I was like, man, he's got a way with words. I'm like, that's kind of what I've always tried to preach about these two guys, and I've been trying to express, which I feel like I did, but it definitely wasn't as smooth as Jimmy. I'm like, the way Jimmy just put that, he's like, you got a game manager that needs to be more of a playmaker, and you got a playmaker that needs to be a little more of a game manager. And I'm like, damn, that's a bar, Jimmy. That was smooth. So we'll play that, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll play Ryan Grubb's interview now. Dwight, if you're in the chat, I'm looking. I don't know if Dwight's in here, but Dwight, normally we send him on missions, man. He finds all the clips and does everything. This is what I'm thinking, Reed. because we are supposed to be joined by Clint Lamb, another one of y'all's favorites here at the top of the hour, and get his thoughts on everything Alabama football, fall camp, all that good stuff. So I don't want to waste too much time listening to the whole Ryan Grubb interview, since a lot of you guys probably have heard it already. But we need to hit on several points because he talked about the running game, which, speaking of that, we got a clip that we need to play because there was a lot of praise for this running game just shortly after the scrimmage number one, where I got to see things and I wasn't necessarily seeing what I just heard. However, in regards to that clip, we'll hear it in a second. That was pre-recorded. Pretty sure we've confirmed that. I don't have 100% confirmation, but I'm 95% sure that was pre-recorded, probably before the scrimmage. But still, that does line up with what I was told prior to scrimmage number one, that they had some good practices, and I'm referring to the offense with the offensive line and tight end room specifically. Remember, I did drop that intel a few days before the scrimmage that people had seen a lot of good improvement from that group. So that video does line up with that portion. However, they've got to be able to make this stuff translate to the scrimmages, the games. That's where it matters most. I guess the good news is, Reed, we've had, 2 practices, 3 now, since the scrimmage, right? They had Friday and Saturday off. They practiced Sunday, Monday, and now today, this morning, we should hear from the defense here coming up. All things are pointing to the offense having a lot of improvement since scrimmage number one and seem to be back on track, and that is exactly what I wanted to hear. Of course, it's what I want to see from scrimmage number 2. That's what I talked about a lot yesterday, right? What do we need to see from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2? I said, listen, offense typically is a step behind. Not always, but it's very likely. And I'm not overly concerned because there were a lot of positive comments about the offensive line and the progress they've made. There's a very good likelihood that Thursday scrimmage, when it was time to put it all together, just maybe, was one of those days. You don't want to see that, but it's not unheard of. Plus, we also heard from Ryan Grubb, and we'll get to this clip. I want to say he mentioned that they started installing more gap scheme, which we can kind of explain the differences if you guys are unfamiliar. And it sounded like yesterday's practice was their best when it came to running the football, right? So that is something to consider. I think Jimmy even pointed that out as well. Defense sometimes throwing the whole kitchen sink at the offense. They're still early in their install, like I mentioned, right? Scrimmage number 2, they have a lot more install to work with, right? They're not as vanilla, and sometimes that also helps to open things up. And that's why ultimately, wait until you have 2 scrimmages under your belt to start really forming that opinion. Always be patient. That's why I always preach patience, Reed, right? There's still time. Still time to East Carolina. Still time for a number of things. So in the meantime, we're going to talk some football. We will hear from Ryan Grubb early. Again, we'll hear from Clint Lamb at the top of the hour. Get y'all's questions, comments, and concerns ready for that. If you guys want to jump on the phone lines, 205-342-9904 is the number. I believe we had Dominique on the line yesterday, and I'm so sorry because I know we missed your call because he got lined up after Smitty, and it was right before Jimmy had to come on, so we didn't have time. So, Dominique, if you're listening, if you want to call back today, I promise I've got you ASAP. As soon as we can get you on, I promise we're going to get to you. That was on me yesterday. We had a guest lined up, and the timing just it went left. So I apologize for that. But this is a Talking Tuesday, meaning we're going to talk plenty. We got plenty of time to do it right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, we got to hit our first time out. When we come back, we dive into some Alabama football talk. We'll talk offense and piggyback off of what offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb had to say, who claims they had arguably their best day running the football in yesterday's practice. Maybe we'll get an answer from Kane Womack how the defense responded today, because we will hear from him later on the show as well. Tide 100.9, 12.
New semester, new room, same nightly battle. Getting good sleep. Start with Cariloha bamboo sheets. From hot dorm nights to late night study weeks, Cariloha bamboo sheets help turn any bed into a cooler, calmer place to recharge. They're naturally soft, cooling, and gentle on skin, so whether it's campus or home, Cariloha makes bedtime feel like a reset. For a limited time, get 35% off Cariloha bamboo sheets during our back-to-school event. Shop now at Cariloha, CARILOHA.com. That's Cariloha, CARILOHA.com.
Skis. Redline Power Sports, open Monday through Saturday on Highway 43 North at Tierce Patton Road in Northport. Call 737-7425.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A heat advisory in place through 9 p.m. tonight. Sunshine's in the forecast. Hot 98. We'll see heat index values near 110 and a northwest breeze. A pop-up shower or storm this afternoon will linger into early this evening. Partly cloudy, muggy tonight, 75. Sunny, sizzling hot again tomorrow. Highs near 100, 99 on Thursday. Richard DeWetting of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 93 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The flagship station for Alabama Crimson Tide sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're getting ready to hear from offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. Now, I know you guys probably heard this. It dropped yesterday. We didn't have time to listen to it, but we got to go back. We got to spin the block, Reed, because there was a lot of things he talked about that somewhat made headlines, right? Talked about the running backs, the running game, offensive line, a decision on deciding a starting quarterback. And he pretty much is saying that is coming potentially very soon. I mean, as soon as maybe this weekend, Reed, right? I mean, the scrimmage is on Thursday. They've got Friday and Saturdays off. They're not staying in the dorms. Don't get me started on all that. I'll save my old man rant for another day. They'll probably be back at practice on Sunday. Could we hear a decision Sunday? And if we hear a sooner decision, does that lean a little bit more towards one guy or the other? I mean, I have a lot of questions, man. So I want to listen to this press conference with you guys. And what we'll do is we'll listen to it. We'll pause after each question because I know you guys kind of recommended that. That's cool. Plus, it's a shorter interview. We got plenty of time to do that. We got Clint Lamb coming up at the top of the hour. We'll keep rolling. We'll take phone calls. We'll hear from the defensive side later from Kane Womack. So we got a full schedule today. Let's go ahead and dive into it. First, we'll start off with offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb addressing the media yesterday following their, 10th practice, 11th practice, whatever number we're on. I lost count, but following another fall camp practice.
Yeah. To what extent do you buy into the theory that it's good to target bigger receivers in the red zone because there's more traffic, less separation to be had? And tied to that, is that something that Cedarian Morgan, as the big guy receiver, can bring to the team?
Yep. I think there's always different places for different routes, and certainly it depends on defensive structure. But if you get one-on-one matchups where you need to throw the back of the end zone, high ball, on in-cut return stuff, on zone throws, stuff like that, certainly good to have big targets. And but the zone guys, the savvy players are just as important. So we've always carried all those different concepts in our bag, so to speak, so that you can utilize whoever's running the best. And so Cedarian, Derek Meadows certainly both fit that bill down there.
Hey, I was just going to throw this out there, man. Larry Fitzgerald, I know I mentioned this, but he's another bigger body receiver that notably started playing in the slot and was very productive. So I don't know, man. Cedarian Morgan with that versatility definitely offers just a lot of usability. And really, I think he looks good, Reed. He definitely looks good. I'm excited to see him grow and develop, and I think he definitely is going to have a big impact on this offense.
Thursday scrimmage. Oh my God, like a lifetime ago. 2 tip picks were the low point. I thought that they built momentum after the first couple of series. First 2 series, we were just kind of honestly just clumsy initially. Operationally, we weren't very good, and that affected how we were executing some plays, and it was quarterback driven. So once we got them over that, we moved the ball effectively. I think 4 straight drives, so that was encouraging to see them pop themselves out of a hole, especially when it happened quick. But the last 2 practices have been 2 of our best days. Not maybe, they definitely have been. So I thought we really have built on some packages there the last couple of days and had a really nice, just got done with a great move the ball session. Had a touchdown and a field goal with the ones on 2 drives, which was awesome.
How close is the decision?
We're close. I mean, we're getting close to game week, so I would say, by next week we'll have to make that call.
All right, so clearly we got to talk about that for a second, Reed. And to the question prior, having their best 2 days, that is very encouraging to me, right? I mean, coming out of scrimmage number 1, that was one of the things I said. I mean, again, there definitely were struggles early on. Things got better as they went on, and I agree with them. You mentioned like clumsiness. You could just tell, right? They didn't really have their footing early on in the scrimmage. Defense came out on fire. They didn't have it just yet, but they got better as it went on. But what I said is I really wanted just to see how they would respond, right? Scrimmage 1 is just that, scrimmage 1, like he said, I felt like a lifetime ago. Now you're going to go back to the drawing board. That is not a definite on who you are as a football team or a football player. And so to hear that the last 2 practices, again, this was before today's practice, have been 2 of their best, that tells me 2 things. Number 1, Thursday definitely there was probably more days like the last 2 days than there were like Thursday scrimmage, because again, that's the intel we've had, that they've been showing some good progress, not necessarily where they need to be, but definitely some good progress there and some things to build off of. But 2, that this team should be able to respond to adversity well, because they got punched in the mouth early on in the scrimmage. They had those series, back to back with 4 in a row. He said that they put points on the board, moving the football on Thursday. And then the last 2 practices, they've continued to build off of really just some, I guess, good stuff, right? In the running game, throwing in some gap scheme in there, adding a little bit more to their repertoire. Guys seem like they're probably, I don't know, maybe they took it a little personal. Maybe Coach Clem said, hey, man, Thursday was not to our standard. And maybe they had a couple of off days to kind of recharge and get their, their feet back underneath them. I don't know, but what I do know is it's really encouraging to hear him speak so highly of the practices that they've had, because that tells me that they have the right response. And that's really important, right? There's going to be times you get punched in the mouth. Even when we were here with Coach Saban, right? And it seemed like we were running the table. We got punched in the mouth. Don't forget, guys. We were on the road at Ole Miss. We got punched in the mouth that first half. In 2016, I think we were down almost 3 scores or something like that. There was times we got punched in the mouth. We were a really good team, but we got punched in the mouth. But it's about how you respond. And the fact that they responded the right way the past couple of days of practice is really encouraging. I'm just hoping and praying they continue to respond when the next scrimmage comes up on Thursday. Because, again, you want to see what you do when the moments are the brightest. And we don't have a game. Those are the closest things you're getting to a game. So hopefully they continue that response going into scrimmage number 2. Other part that he just mentioned was the decision on the quarterback battle. Read said it's coming soon. We're approaching game number 1. I'd imagine that decision needs to be made relatively soon. But if you heard him, that was the second part that he said. The first part, he said, I think we're close to it. He didn't necessarily mention the schedule making it, I guess, directly impacting that. You see what I'm saying? I'll play it again. I mean, maybe I'm just reading too much into it.
Days and had a really nice, just got done with a great move the ball session. Awesome.
How close is the decision?
We're close.
He said, we're close. He didn't necessarily say that. He added the second part about we're getting close to game week. Maybe that's kind of what he was thinking. But in my mind, I'm like, he initially just said we're close. That to me sounds like he's alluded more so to just based off the competition itself, not necessarily where we're at. Sense to you, Reed? Or maybe I'm looking into that too deep.
No, I can definitely understand what you're talking about, because if he would have said first, right, if you said, game week's approaching, sooner or later we need to name a starter, then I'm like, okay, well, it's because of, the first game of the season is approaching, right? But the fact that he said we're close, I totally agree that it just strictly be because of the competition between the 2.
Yeah, that's at least what it sounded like. So here's my thing, Reed. The more I think about it, I'm like, it's so interesting, because I feel like this battle is it's I don't know how to explain it, man. I know what my eyes have told me. I know that I feel like ultimately, I made this comment yesterday, Keelan Russell's a more talented guy. I feel like anybody that watches these 2 guys enough, you can just walk away and say, he's the more talented guy. He's got more upside. He's got more potential. I don't think anybody's arguing that. But then it leads to the question, well, then what would hold him back from being the guy? And then you talk about quarterback, right? I mean, of course, command, understanding of the system, not only for what you need to do, but what everybody around you needs to do. You got to be able to effectively communicate. You got to be able to effectively get in and out of things, right? We know that's something they like to do. Read the defense, pre-snap, false count, see what's coming, right? Get the signal, get the call, and not signal anymore. Get the call. You got communications. All those things matter, right? I mean, winning the team, there's a million different things. So my thing is like, how far is he away from that aspect? Because if it's close, to me, it's like, just kind of like Smitty always says, man, just throw him in there and let him work. Because that's going to come. That to me, that's the big, and that's why I like the way Jimmy had worded it yesterday. It's like, and I'm just saying Austin Mack is a game manager. I think he can make plays, but he's not going to make as many plays as a guy like Keelan Russell. And Keelan Russell is without a doubt a game changer, but probably would benefit from adding some more game manager-like aspects to his game. And I think it's really, and to me, I'm like, if I had to choose between those two, Reed, I would probably say, give me the game changer that can learn, especially early on, and get those reps, those valuable reps and that valuable game experience that will allow him to help kind of add that to his game. Not saying he doesn't have it, because I'll be honest with you, just watch him at the scrimmage. I mean, the offense was moving the ball very effectively with him behind center. So I think it's still more of just a comfort thing, and more of a consistency thing. With that being said, Reed, I think if Keelan has it, kind of like Jimmy said too, I mean, it seems like he's kind of got to put the game away, right? Like maybe he has that slight edge. If he has another solid scrimmage this Thursday, I just feel like it's going to be too hard to not name him the starter. But then I also understand, with things being as close as they are and having a guy in Austin Mack who's had time in the system, and you just feel maybe a little bit more comfortable, maybe at least giving him that first shot. Like, I can see it going both ways, but to me, Reed, I just know at the end of the day, and that's why I've always said this, one way or another, this is not like I have a horse in the race. This is just my opinion from my eyes. If you want to give yourself the best chance to win as many football games as possible, especially the big games when you need somebody to make those plays, it's Keelan Russell. To me, it's Keelan Russell. I feel like, to me, Austin Mack feels like the safer pick. And if we had like a very dependable running game, I think their defense is going to be really good, so you can check that box. If we had a very dependable running game, and we got good skill players, I imagine, I feel like they're going to be able to do what they've been doing in camp when the season comes. Maybe you do go with the safer option, a guy that just controls the football, is that distributor that you need, and you at least give him an opportunity, right? I mean, the quarterbacks that I won national champ, Jake Coker, really good football player, but I wouldn't necessarily call him Tua. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you have those other factors, it's a little bit different. The situation that we're in, I almost feel like you kind of need a little bit of that explosive ability from Keelan Russell, not to mention even just like the zone read aspect that he brings to the table. Running game struggling, all right. Have a quarterback in there that not only can spin it extremely well, you guys are seeing the clips, the way it comes off his hand. Dude can run. I know a lot of people complain about Marcel Reed, with the turnover stuff, but just look how effective he is because of that ability to also use his legs. To me, I'm like, it's hard to not play a guy like that, man. It just really is. And I'm torn because I could see Austin Mack getting the nod just to start things off, but then making that move at some point. I don't know. But I think if Keelan keeps showing out, especially if he does in scrimmage number 2, I would not be shocked if they go ahead and name him the starter. We'll talk more about this and continue listening to Ryan Grubb when we come back at this quick timeout right here on the Miller's.
Athletes of all ages and abilities are invited to compete. Learn more about sports, registration, and academic scholarship opportunities at allagames.com.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy.
All the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
The flagship station for Alabama Crimson Tide football.
Alabama touchdown.
Only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're breaking down Ryan Grubb's press conference again. We got the defense coming up later on in the show. We got Clint Lamb joining us at the top of the hour. So we're locked and loaded. Let's continue with this interview. Ryan Grubb, next question.
We're getting close to game week, so I would say, by next week we'll have to make that call.
How have you seen the offensive line progress the most from where they started at the beginning of the spring until now?
Well, I'd probably locate more with the ones. I thought in the last 2 days, we've really kind of finalized our run game package, got all of our gap scheme in, so we're able to expand some of the things that we didn't do in the scrimmage, and really took advantage of all those. And when they were able to put everything together with the ones, I thought they gelled really, really well today, and ran the ball really well, probably the best we have all camp, honestly, especially today. It was hot, a couple long drives starting on the 20, went all the way down the field. So it was really, really good to see. Super encouraged after today.
What was Mal giving you at left guard?
Toughness, physicality, and intelligence.
So they definitely really like Mal Waldrop, Reed. We continue to hear about Mal, and I wouldn't say that he's necessarily like run off with the job. And I know the title on today's show is Position Battles Heating Up. We'll talk a little bit about some of these. Of course, we just talked about the quarterback battle. That one was definitely close. Expecting an answer on that pretty soon, potentially. But then also on the offensive line, which he's now getting into. Mal Waldrop, I feel like he's been one of the, I want to say, biggest surprises, because I think a lot of people are really high on him. Even in the spring, I thought he did some really good stuff. But when you hear how quick he answers that, I mean, you can just tell in body language, man. They're really appreciative of his services, right? I mean, they said his toughness, physical communication, those are like the important things. You're talking about offensive line play. And it sounds like Mal Waldrop is kind of slowly separating himself even more. Now, they still really like Will Sanders, right? And Will Sanders has done some good stuff. I think he'll mention in a minute, how he's still probably, working back from whatever he had done in the spring. So he's been playing catch up a little bit. But I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about this. The fact that Mal Waldrop has stepped up in this capacity, a little bit of a surprise, maybe. You still like Will Sanders a lot. So when it comes to like having some established depth, even if Will doesn't win the job, I'm not saying you're going to see rotating again. I'm not saying that at all. But we all know, again, knock on wood, injuries are a thing. And the fact that you had a younger guy or a guy that you didn't expect to win the job, you got a guy that has starting experience who's going to be probably that next guy in. From a depth perspective, that is good. And who knows? I mean, maybe, you shuffle some stuff around at tackle and you look at, I don't know, maybe Will on the right side. Who knows, right? Things can shuffle around. But interesting stuff seeing Mal Waldrop, continuously pop up and impress, right? And that's big. That's really big for this offensive line. You got any comments on that, Reed?
Yeah, no, kind of like you pointed out, though. I just like how confident and kind of firm he was on that answer. It wasn't like he was hesitating, Waldrop, he was pretty firm on his answer, which kind of, like you said, just the body language and just seeing him, it makes me feel that he's confident in his ability to do his job on the offensive line. Yeah, 100%. And then to his point about the run game being about as good as it's been, he said they finalized their package, and he mentioned gap scheme. So let's talk about that for just 2 seconds, right? So gap scheme, right, man, that's going to feature, counter, power, right? That's hat on a hat type deal. Zone scheme is exactly what it sounds like, right? We're kind of blocking zones. Everybody's kind of working in, same direction, inside zone, mid zone, wide zone, aka stretch. So it sounds to me, remember we were trying to figure out, hey, schematically, it sounds like they want to hang their hat on something, right? Or narrow things down a little bit. They're still going to have, which again, everybody does, right? No one just runs. 49ers love wide zone, but best believe they mix it up, here and there. They're still going to have some I guess, diversity to their run game package. But to me, it sounded like when they added some more of that gap scheme in there, they did a heck of a job. Which the reason I'm bringing that up is because, remember, we always talk about, well, they want to get to their zone. They want to get athletic guys that can move in space, guys, that can pull, which, in counter, you got to be able to pull, right? So maybe that goes hand in hand with that. But I'm curious. I mean, I don't know. I guess that makes sense from that perspective. I don't know. I want scrimmage number 2. I want to see even more of this, right? And I want to focus in on that, exactly the running game, and what they're running. Because I'm so used to them just wanting to run pin and pull, some of that zone, which we saw a lot of. But the gap scheme, if that's kind of the way they're going, I'm curious to see it, right? Duo, those combo blocks, that's a big one, right? Something that, for whatever reason, for the life of us, we could not figure that out. We could not figure out how to do a deuce block, double team the tackle, the nose, and climb up to the backer. I don't know why that's probably one of the early things you learn as an offensive lineman. Didn't play it, but I'm pretty sure that's probably one of those things. It sounds like things are improving in the run game department, which we'll hear that video from Aaron Taylor here shortly. And he's got everybody talking about this Alabama offensive line with his rave reviews after attending the practice last week, I believe. But they posted it yesterday. Let's continue.
What about Trayshawn running back?
Man, really, really good empty cut vision, meaning when he gets into a hole, blind cut defenders, he can see and feel that next guy. Very good anticipatory skills, great out of the backfield. Much better pass protector than people would think. They think because he's short, but he plays down the middle of defenders. He got good feet, and he's a smart kid. So impressive young player.
Give a health update on EJ.
EJ's doing great. Sooner than later, he'll be back. Definitely not season ending. Fully expect him to be ready for the first football game.
Were you pleased with how the offensive line communicated in Thursday's scrimmage?
No, not initially. But again, I put that back on the quarterback. I think there's too much confusion on, the onset of the football play. When you start to play, you have confusion to start. It's going to be really tough. And one of the things that we improved on, I thought, far too often in the scrimmage, we were getting up to the line of scrimmage and we just weren't taking the line, getting set, and forcing the defense to be set, make our call and move. And we're doing it the opposite. We're milling around, letting them move around, and creating indecision. So I thought, sometimes the guys just need to see it and feel it. And now I really feel like they've started to bring that to life a little bit.
I just said that you didn't expect EJ to miss any time, but given miss the games.
Yeah.
Given the time that he's missed in fall and spring.
Yeah.
What do you expect out of him?
Well, we don't know. To be honest, we don't know. I know he's a really, really tough kid. That's all I've seen from him. And he absolutely loves football. He's been all in kind of guy, just super impressed with him. So, I'm very optimistic that we're going to be able to get him ready to play and have him out there.
Just wanted to point out, Reed, he said, he doesn't know, right? And he's being honest here because the reality is, EJ Crowell hadn't really been available since he stepped on campus, right? He's kind of been sprinkled in there a little bit, then out with an injury, come back briefly, out again. And so that's kind of the point we were making yesterday when we were talking about it. As a true freshman, all these reps, every single day, man, spring ball, fall camp, they are so valuable. And with a guy not getting those quality reps, you don't really know. The guy can play football. And I'm not saying, since he didn't practice a whole bunch, he's not going to be nearly as good this season. No, but I just feel like he could be so much further along, and you could feel a bit more confident about, hey, we know what EJ's going to do when he gets in there. They just don't really know exactly, at least early on. But the good news is he did sound confident that he will continuously be working back in there and then be ready to go by game one. And hopefully, if he can stay healthy during the season, I would imagine some of those early games will be good to kind of get him up to speed a little bit more, get those reps that he missed out on. Then we can start to see him flourish. Because, of course, we know this guy has potential, but again, we want to see him at his best, and you have to have reps and experience to see that. So hopefully we can get him out there as soon as possible.
The decision comes closer at quarterback. Have you seen those guys respond? Have they changed their mentality?
You know, I'd say like this. I said in the meeting room the other day, I think we hit a lull as it was kind of like the look around phase, like what's going on right now. And I think they got through that now. They broke through that with the scrimmage. And I feel like, always coach quarterbacks to be playing with blinders on, just focus on you, the things you need to improve. And I think we lost sight of that a little bit for a few practices, and been really, really impressed, especially today on some move the ball situations where both guys were able to just hone in on the things they need to do better and didn't get stuck when it didn't go perfect, and were able to keep us moving. So we're getting there. Yeah.
What do you want to see change in the second scrimmage?
Just clean operation. You want to feel like you get out there in the East Carolina game that, you just give you guys a chance to play, and that's where you want to be able to conceptually and schematically, all the things, what do they run well? What are they doing well? What can they handle? And focus more on those things, not what we can't do, but what we can. And there's certainly a lot of things we can do. So I think that part will be critical for us.
What's been the message to Trayshawn with AK and EJ down?
Oh, Coach G's the best, man. He's a stud. His vision and his coaching style is very consistent, and so that, I think, just breeds consistency in the room where, nothing changes. The standard's the standard. He keeps guys moving forward. The expectation is next man up. And so it just doesn't turn into this, you don't give life to the problem. The guys just keep preparing and getting ready. So a lot of credit to Coach G on that one.
We talk a lot about those young guys that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. Daniel Hill is if I was picking guys that have had a lot of growth on this football team, Daniel would be one of the biggest ones. Just not only physically how he's transformed his body, but just also his maturity, his understanding preparation, schematically, his knowledge. I mean, you just hear him lining guys up, and intelligent football player. So I just, I think the world of him. He's put a lot of work into being, one of our workhorses. And then Kev, same thing, maturity. Knowledge of the offense. He's a bright kid, consistently trying to work on keeping his weight up. He's got good twitch, just trying to be a little more heavy-handed in the run game, which I know he's working on.
So the rotation that on the offensive line is kind of, it's the same guys running with the one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a set five at this point?
Not yet. We're close. There's still a couple battles going on, and you want to give a guy like Will Sanders. He's had a really good couple days, and he hasn't been able to fully be out here. They had to reevaluate him for a little bit, so he missed a little bit of time, got back out there, and I really feel like, he had the last couple of days where he got back out there and felt comfortable. It's the first time I've seen Will doing that in a while, so I think there's guys like him, and then, Nick and Javen, and then, those guys have really started to, turn that into a real battle.
What can Will and Nick do to supplant?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the spot, but, Mal's strengths are Mal's strengths. So I think one of the things that you feel good about him at left guard is communication and physicality in the run game. And, so just making sure they can do those things, number one, because I think they're, all things are pretty equal in pass protection. And then same thing with Nick. Javen is an intelligent player. Nick's just got to execute at a little higher level.
Just two more questions.
Yep.
Going back where we started with the big receivers, how does that apply to the tight end room? And do you think we could see an uptick in production from the tight end group?
Well, I do. I think they've been productive all camp, and I think that's a great question because to me, it's just we put those guys in positions all the time, like for that exact reason. Okay, do we want to try to use a big body receiver for this, or would we rather get Marshall out there? And those are the kind of questions we're getting answered right now in camp. But the tight end group is one of the absolute bright spots of camp so far.
So you mentioned Marshall Pritchett. He looked good to me on Thursday's scrimmage. I'm trying to make this. I don't know. My screen is. I don't know. So we'll just leave that full screen. You guys can hear me. There it goes. He looked good in Thursday's scrimmage to the point where I feel like this tight end room, Reed is going to produce a number of guys that you'll see out there. Josh Ford, without a doubt, he's going to be on the field, more of that wide position, that inline guy that's going to be physical in the running game, help you get some good movement, right? Especially in that C area, help open up some running lanes for those running backs. But then Caleb Edwards, he showed last year as a true freshman. He's a big body tight end, but he has the ability to make an impact as a pass catcher. So you're going to see that. But Marshall Pritchett, right? You heard him mention his name, right? Do we want to put him out in the slot here? Do we want to go more 11 personnel and have a big body receiver? The fact that he's mentioned Marshall Pritchett's name, it just lines up with kind of what I've seen. He's been very active. He's carving himself out a role respectively. And he even mentioned Danny Lewis a few days ago, and just a guy being back that we know can also go in there and be a physical presence in that tight end room. So I think you're going to see a number of guys line up at tight end. And I think it's, I said this a couple weeks ago, I think it's honestly probably one of the underrated position groups on the team. Maybe you don't hear as much about it, but I think they're going to end up having a big impact. All that in together with the fact that this offense, they use tight ends a lot. So those guys are going to have a number of opportunities. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we got some super chats that we'll answer. Then at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by Clint Lamb. We keep discussing Alabama Fall Camp Plus. And a little bit later in the show, we'll hear from Kane Wommack, get the defensive side of things coming out of practice today. And we'll do all that when we come back right here.
Plus, get a $300 instant gift. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-9.
The Crimson Tide, sold in stadium and at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We're here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping.
We want to hear from you. Apply online at coviacorp.com or call us today at 205-758-8353. That's 205-758-8353.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Proud partner.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A heat advisory in place through 9 p.m. tonight. Sunshine's in the forecast. High at 98. We'll see heat index values near 110 and a northwest breeze. A pop-up shower or storm this afternoon will linger into early this evening. Partly cloudy, muggy tonight, 75. Sunny, sizzling hot again tomorrow. Highs near 199 on Thursday. Richard DeWetting at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 93 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9. For more coverage of Alabama football, visit us at Tide100.9.com or download the free Tide 100.9 app.
The Crimson Tide will not be denied.
Welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Big shout out to Gelato with the super chat. Great question, by the way, about an anonymous scout saying that the quarterback battle is not even close. Just for our radio listeners to recap, I pretty much just said that the scouts there maybe once, maybe twice if he comes back, maybe talk to some folks. So I'm not saying take it with a grain of salt, but just understand that they might not see the whole picture they're not going to see the whole picture like the staff does. They're not going to see all, what has it been, 12 practices, however many practices. They haven't seen every single practice, every single rep like these coaches have. I do believe it definitely is closer. If you're saying one guy's starting to pull away, I'm fine with that. But I don't know. I don't think I could word it like not even close. I don't think you can say that. We got the pastor of Payne on here as well. Let me hit this other super chat real quick before we hit this break. We got a $5 super chat from Smitty. He says the comp is Mac versus Bryce. 2020 team was so talented that Mac could simply be steady. Bryce is more dynamic and had to be dynamic in 21 and 22. And that was kind of my point about, kind of just being a little bit more that game manager when you have that type of talent around you. This team is talented. Don't get it twisted, but they're young. And with that being said, you still say, well, shouldn't you get a more experienced quarterback behind center in that situation? But I feel like this one's a little bit different. I said earlier, if you had a consistent running game, if you had defense, which I think the defense is going to be good, but you get my point. If you had all those other factors, maybe you do go a little bit more steady. But I just feel like this team specifically, I think they need that spark. I think they need that explosiveness. And I think that zone read ability with Keelan Russell, his ability to run, I think is going to help the running game even more. I think it helps open things up even more. And so to me, that's personally why I lean that way. But a little bit different situation than Mac and Bryce in that sense. But we'll have to see. And we might have an answer sooner rather than later. We got to hit the timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by Clint Lamb of Bama Online right here on the Miller's Edge, continuing talking Alabama football fall camp. Scrimmage number 2 coming up Thursday, all that good stuff coming your way. Plus, Kane Womack press conference right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Steve DeSager.
In the NBA, the Buss family said it's selling its stake in the Lakers, so Jeannie Buss cannot remain as team governor, but her attorney demanded a retraction of the trust statement. The LA Dodgers were 11-5 winners at Colorado, 2 home runs for Shohei Ohtani. The Cubs' Pete Crow Armstrong hit 2 home runs, including the game winner in the 10th inning in a Cubs win over the White Sox 7-5. Tampa Bay edged Baltimore 7-6. The save to Brian Baker, his 35th. He leads the majors. The Rays, first place in the AL East, now 6 games ahead of the Yankees, who will have pitcher Carlos Rodon off the injured list to start on Tuesday, but Yankee pitcher Max Fried was placed on the IL. Philadelphia edged Miami 6-5. Winner Christopher Sanchez is now 16-4. New Orleans Saints rookie wideout Jordan Tyson could miss about 2 months with a hamstring injury, and Live Golf canceled its championship weekend later this month.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Proud partner.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
And the
That was Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here is college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
Tuesday, this is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC Hour number 2 officially underway. We're joined now by Clint Lamb of Bama Online. Clint, good Tuesday to you, man. Welcome in.
Hey, Christian, how you doing today, brother? It's as we're getting more and more into fall camp, we're getting closer and closer to football season, so I couldn't be, happier to be here, man. Good talking to you again.
Absolutely. We got to get you back on the stream, man. We got your boy Jimmy on here now, man. Clint, you got big time on us. Clint said he's on the phone lines now. I'm like, Jimmy's on. We'll get both you guys on here one time. We'll have a whole party over here, man. And I talked yesterday with some of y'all's folks on y'all side, so maybe we'll see kind of what's in the works, man, to kind of do some collab stuff. I don't want to say too much, but we'll have some fun this football season. I can tell you that much. Now I'm pulling your leg, man. Talk to me though, Clint. I know it's been I don't know, it's almost been a week since last week, I guess scrimmage number 1, but we haven't talked to you since that's gone down. Just your overall impressions, Clint, just kind of come out of scrimmage number 1 and just some of the things that you gathered from it and maybe what you are kind of thinking going into this second scrimmage coming up here on Thursday.
Defensive line, defense really in general looks really good. Offensive line still a work in progress, which if you'd have asked me my opinion going into the scrimmage, I think a lot of people would have probably told you that's exactly what they expected to see. This week is a big week for the offensive line. Obviously, we talked to Ryan Grubb yesterday, and he seemed pretty pleased with how things have been progressing since they've been able to get back on the practice field after that first scrimmage. But they need to take some big steps forward this week, and really not just this week, but just leading up to that season opener against East Carolina. We all know how much the offense has kind of been inconsistent, despite the fact that, Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb are both offensive-minded guys. They've got to get more consistency on that side of the football. I certainly think they're expecting to get more consistency as they get more experience, but it's just a matter of going through some of those growing pains and, how long does that take and what is some of those, early season struggles potentially, what does that end up looking like? That'll be something to keep an eye on for sure.
Clint, this stays along the same line of what we're talking about. I mean, we expected that. When Christian was out there last week, one of the things that I was telling the guys on air and online, don't expect anything from this offense. They're still learning, they're still growing, don't have the continuity. That's going to be a problem. And defenses are always ahead of the offense, especially early on in camp. And that's everywhere, college pros. It don't really matter. So no surprise there. But what we talking about the quarterback. We'll get into that a little later. But this running game, man, I'm very interested to see what kind of progress that they can make, because they're going to have to be able to run the football. You got a kind of inexperienced offensive line. You got a quarterback that's going to be inexperienced. You have to be able to run the football. What do you think Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer, what are they trying to conjure up here so they can make sure they can run the football to alleviate some of that pressure off of these young quarterbacks?
Well, the big talking point, both publicly and I think behind the scenes this offseason, has been kind of trying to identify those one or two things that you do extremely well in the run game and completely perfecting those things, and then kind of fleshing things out from there, seeing what else you can build off of that. Last year, they just had no identity as far as running the football. and it was apparent whether it was the offensive line, whether it would be the tight ends. I think the wide receiver blocking was inconsistent at times. The running backs didn't always see it, and they didn't have the ability to kind of create when it wasn't there for themselves. And so I think just with all these different elements that created this subpar, can't ever happen, quality of run game this past season, they've been trying to take it piece by piece and identifying the key areas of that need improvement. And I think that they've addressed a lot of that, but you've got to really start honing in on a commitment for everybody moving in the right direction and understanding. One thing about Ryan Grubb that I don't think people fully understand sometimes is he does understand the importance of a run game. Does he want to throw the football primarily? Absolutely he does. I think he will always be a throw first type of play caller, but he understands that the success in the passing game can only go so far if you don't have that run threat element. And so I think that between Trayshawn Brown, we've heard great things about him. Daniel Hill obviously has made tremendous improvement, getting a little bit leaner, a little bit lighter, a little bit in better condition to be able to handle more volume this upcoming season. We don't know what to expect from E.J. Crowell. We obviously, A.K. Deere have been taking steps forward prior to his injury. Now he's going to be out. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what it ends up looking like, but I kind of been cautioning Alabama fans all off season to, hey, this isn't like you're going to see it against East Carolina and it's going to be a finished product and it's going to all be fixed and it's going to look great. What you need to be looking for is those, step-by-step improvements where you see it moving in the right direction. You see them playing with more physicality at moments in the football game when they really need to take control a little bit with a run game. Can they do that with any sort of consistency? Or is it, does it reach a point like we did last year where you're just happy when they get a 4 or 5 yard gain and it's a 2nd and 5 or a 2nd and 6? Like that's kind of, that's the point that it got to last year. It's got to be a lot better, and I'll be curious to see what that ends up looking like.
We're joined by Clint Lamb of Bama Online. Make sure you guys check out all the work that they're doing over there. Clint, I want to ask you, sticking with the theme of the running game, offensive line, there's been a lot of questions about, and it sounds like they're starting to kind of, it's really narrowed down what that's going to look like. A lot of guys have consistently been running with the same groups. Really the main competitions we're seeing at this point, left guard, Mal Waldrop, who seems like he's slowly kind of, running away with that job, even though they did just mention that Will Sanders wasn't probably fully healthy, has had a nice few practices, last couple practices. So it's not over, but they really like Mal. Then at right tackle, it seems like Nick Brooks might be gaining a little bit of ground on Javen James. What's your understanding of those two battles and kind of how this offensive line is taking shape so far?
Yeah, I think the coaching staff loves Will Sanders. I think last year, between him and Mike Carroll, I think they were trying to figure out a way to get both guys on the field. They needed to show that they were ready to, and I don't think that, obviously I think Mike Carroll was a little bit closer, but, even still, like he started to take over a little bit or platoon a little bit more with Wilkin Formby at right tackle. I think it was against Georgia the first time around, and then you saw him kind of take a little bit of a step back, and then they started trying to get him involved a little bit more. Well, Will Sanders was kind of in that conversation as well. Do think he got a little bit banged up at one point, last season, but overall, I just don't think he was quite ready. But had he been available in the spring, I wouldn't have been shocked had they kind of grouped him in with like a Jackson Lloyd or a Racing Delgatti, where they were willing to go ahead and name him the starting left guard. But because he wasn't available, and not only was he not available in the spring, he also wasn't available in the summer. Mal Waldrop has been a guy who the coaching staff has been high on ever since he got on campus, but he has continuously gotten better. Great work ethic. I think that the 3 words that Grubb used to describe Waldrop yesterday was toughness, physicality, and intelligence. Anybody you talk to, whether it be publicly or privately, about Mal Waldrop, they rave about the guy as far as his work ethic. He is playing with a lot more physicality, very intelligent player in the sense of, from a communication standpoint, understanding really not just what his role is, but the entire offensive line. He can be one of those guys who can help get everybody on the same page along with your center. And so he's taken advantage of every opportunity he's been given this offseason. And now I think it's reached a point because Will Sanders, they wanted to see him in fall camp. He gets back, and then he has a little bit of a setback, which Grubb brought up yesterday. That kind of, obviously limited him a little bit. They're going to give him an opportunity to continue to work, try to earn that starting job from Mal Waldrop. But I think Mal, just with the way that we've been hearing about him, I wouldn't be shocked if he was your starting left guard against East Carolina. and I wouldn't be shocked at all if he ended up being, a very good offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman for the Crimson Tide this season. So that's one where you look and say, okay, that to me is leaning pretty heavily towards Mal. As far as right tackle is concerned, Nick Brooks is continuing to push Javen James. We've heard good things about James. We do feel like, whether it be from a run blocking standpoint, pass protection, all the physical traits that you look for, he's a very balanced guy when you look at him overall. Just the consistency in which he operates, whether it be at Akron, whether it be at Mississippi State this past season, I think from a coaching standpoint, he didn't really get what he needed to get. I think from just him playing both left and right tackle and just, flip-flopping back and forth, and it would even be mid-game, they'd be going back and forth with him. I think him getting the right tackle and allowing him to develop specifically at that spot has helped him. But, they definitely need more consistency out of him. And, they're wanting to prepare Nick Brooks, who is a guy who's got elite length. I know he played guard for Texas this past season and doesn't exactly have tackle athleticism, but I think the length can kind of make up for it a little bit. And so he's been continuing to drop weight and do some really good things. And so I think you got a good competition going on over there as well. Wouldn't say I'm leaning towards Nick Brooks taking that job. I still think Javen James ultimately ends up being the starter. But I think right now it's not just about establishing your starters. It's about establishing who your depth guys are going to be, those first couple of guys off the bench. And I think Will Sanders and Nick Brooks, should they be those two guys, I think Alabama would be in, pretty decent shape as far as developing some of that depth. But once again, not telling you it's going to look great out the gate, but I do think that I think they've got a lot more depth options now than they did last year.
All right, let's. I'm going to term this as move day, right? We know scrimmage number one, pass, right? You got to give a little bit of a pass, but scrimmage number two, and all my football experience, NFL experience, that second scrimmage is move day. That's when things got to happen. That's when coaches' eyes are a little bit different. You just listen to a lot of the position battles, right, that you're expecting and maybe some changes there. But what are you looking for in scrimmage number two? And I know the elephant in the room is the quarterback. We had guys, as scouts said, they want to be anonymous, that, Russell's the guy, but we don't know that just yet. We expect to hear something soon. But this is move day because now you got to talk about putting your team together. You got to talk about who's my number 1, 2, and 3, right? Who am I going into the season with? Who can I depend on? What do you expect on move day that's going to happen on Thursday?
Yeah, that's such an excellent point. And I talked about that a little bit on the show this morning. If you're going to make a move for Keelan, if you really want to try to lock this thing up, because as of right now, and from everything I've heard, it has been pretty neck and neck. But this is the time if you're Keelan. If it reaches the end of this week, a lot of people just assume if it is even, they'll probably go with the higher upside guy and Russell. To an extent, I think that is certainly a possibility, but I also want to acknowledge that there's been a commitment and a loyalty for Kalen DeBoer as far as Austin Mack is concerned. And so if Keelan doesn't step up and really take that job from Mack, I could see the default kind of being, if it's pretty even, let's go with a guy who's been here longer, who knows the offense probably a little bit better. I could see that going in either direction. But Keelan, based off of what we have heard, he's been making strides this week. It's only been a couple of practices, but I have heard that he's done extremely well in those practices. But it's not just the quarterback battle, as you mentioned. There's a lot of spots right now. That linebacker spot's going to have a rotation. I can't tell you how many exactly it's going to be. It might be 3, it might be 4, but if you're trying to solidify a spot in that rotation, now's the time to make a move. If you're going to be one of those defensive linemen situationally where, okay, maybe you don't have an every down rotate in for an entire series type of role, but you want to figure out a way to maybe help as far as in very specific situations, now's the time to kind of step up and establish yourself as one of those players. Xavier Griffin, you can tell, I saw a clip yesterday of Kane Womet really coaching Xavier Griffin up, the 5-star freshman linebacker. And you can tell that they want him on the field, and I think they're preparing to have him on the field. It's going to be a matter of, what he can handle early on and really, where they can trust him. And will that be as a situational pass rusher on the edge exclusively? Will it be some off-ball stuff as well? We'll have to wait and see. But, this is a huge time for a lot of these guys. And on the offensive side, you're talking about wide receiver, and you're trying to figure out, okay, Latsier Brooks is back. You got Ryan Coleman Williams. Clearly, those are going to be your top two guys. But if you're wanting to be that wide receiver 3, now's the time to start making the move. And you've had a lot of guys competing at that spot. We've heard great things about the entire wide receiver room. I mean, based off of what I've heard, Rico's been a guy who's seen a lot of targets, did some good things with his opportunity, stepping up in the starting lineup with Latsier Brooks out this past scrimmage. Derek Meadows has been making some plays. Darian Morgan's been making a few plays here or there. So, you're trying to establish pecking order. You're trying to get your opportunities early in the season. Who's going to be that wide receiver 3? That's absolutely something I'm going to be keeping an eye on as well.
Clint, you mentioned pass rushers, man. We got to talk about it. There's no way you come on the show and we don't mention any type of pass rush. You mentioned Xavier Griffin. He's definitely gotten some opportunities for sure. But I know you did a prediction on sack numbers for some of the guys. Where do you have that? Because I didn't see the whole list. Where do you have that total kind of falling? I know that's something that this defense needs to improve on. It's definitely been a point of emphasis. They're trying to address it. And then maybe just your thoughts coming out of scrimmage 1. Did you, with your predictions, did some of those guys line up from what you've heard with kind of what you might be predicting and with some of those numbers and kind of refresh us? Who did you have? Of course, I would imagine Yanze was number 1. But guys like Justin Hill or maybe Devin Tompkins, what were the ranges for those guys on your predictions?
Yeah, so it was so fascinating. As I started to dive into it, number 1, Yanze is obviously going to lead things if you're predicting. But looking at number 2 and looking at really just how the defense as a whole has operated, do I really look at this defense and see a clearly established number 2 guy who's kind of nipping at the heels of Pierre? Not really, because you do have so many potential options. Like I don't, if I'm projecting Yanze is going to be the premier pass rusher on this defense, but I'm also predicting that Xavier Griffin is going to have a situational role on the edge, can I really predict a ton of sacks for like a Justin Hill? Because he's kind of getting squeezed out in those types of situations a little bit. So I think I have him projected for like 2 or 3 sacks, nothing crazy. Certainly going to be a much more disruptive piece than you would think for a guy who only has 2 or 3 sacks. But I think that will be more so through tackles for loss. I think stopping the run going to have a massive role, but his pass rushing opportunities could continue to be a little bit limited. But Xavier Griffin, I had projected for 2 or 3 sacks as well. Thought about even going a little bit higher than that, but I mean, I just think with him being such a specific role, like Q Robinson a couple of years ago, I think he ended up finishing second on the team in sacks with maybe 4 or 5, and that was despite the fact that he got hurt, I think 7 or 8 games, maybe 9 games into the season. But he had that, situational role on passing downs, but he also was getting work rotating in as a regular Wolf as well. So that's what allowed him to kind of climb a little bit. I think Edric Hill on the interior, he's going to make an impact. I think I had him between 2 and 4 sacks. London Simmons is another guy. I think whether you're talking about playing some nose or some tackle, 2 to 4 sacks. Devin Tompkins was second for me, and I originally had him somewhere between, I think, 4 and 6 sacks, but I ended up increasing it to 5 to 7. I've heard great things about him and just what he's been able to do. Justin Aboigbe, a few years ago, I think Nick Saban's final year in 2023, he was kind of that heavy end, played a lot in that type of role. I think he finished with 7 sacks. And so Devin Tompkins, I think, is the superior talent overall, but that doesn't mean that he's going to necessarily touch that number. So I kind of put it on a range and kind of gave myself a little bit of wiggle room, predicting 5 to 7. But, I mean, Terrence Green, from what I heard, he has some pocket collapsing ability. I think him getting a little bit leaner. I've told people all offseason, I just feel like there's some untapped potential here as far as his pass rush. Don't know that he'll necessarily reach it, and I obviously didn't see it with my own eyes in the scrimmage, but I think Terrence Green is going to get a couple of sacks probably. Red Morgan, we've heard a lot of things about them kind of allowing him to wreak havoc off the edge. I think from a tackles for loss perspective or a sacks perspective, you'll see him getting sent quite a bit. Kind of in some ways similar to Brian Branch that year that he had, I think, 14 tackles for loss playing star under Nick Saban. Now, granted, I don't think he had a ton of sacks, but I think Red Morgan will chip in there. So it's kind of, I think a lot of fans were disappointed in my projections because you want all these guys that are reaching 7, 8, 9, 10 sacks. But I think Alabama, they will be a top 25, top 30 type of pass rushing defense, which will be a very impressive increase for Kane Womack. But I think it'll be more of a committee approach where it's just a ton of guys who are chipping in, 2, 3, or 4, more so than any anybody being a clearly established guy behind Yonze Pierre.
It's good stuff. One more question for me. Now, I'm done. I have to talk about the coaches because, they made some moves, offensive line and other positions that they felt like they needed to upgrade in the coaching department. We talk about the players a lot, and rightfully so, but, the coaching hasn't been the grade that I personally, this is just my opinion, would have expected out of his staff. And I think they've upgraded. When you look at this staff and what they brought in, do you feel like now he's figured it out? It's like food. Sometimes you got to put a pinch of salt, pinch of pepper, a little gritty here and there to make that thing right. Does he have that right pitch of coaching on his staff right now?
I think they're as close as they've been. I like Brian Ellis a lot. He's more of a quarterbacks coach, and I've said that from the time that he was hired. Now, granted, that, and once again, that's nothing against him. I think he did a fine job with the tight ends. But when you look at, what they brought in as far as Richard Owens to coach the tight ends, the kind of edge in which he coaches and the way that he played the game himself playing tight end, I think he is perfect for that room. I think he's going to emphasize physicality a lot more. They understand that they need to be more physical at that position. The C-gap runs, it wasn't where it needed to be a year ago. So I'm really excited about Richard Owens. Adrian Clem, I just think you need a guy that can sometimes push back. I mean, the head coach and the offensive coordinator, they're not always going to be right. And I'm not saying that Adrian Clem is this combative type of personality, but we have heard about him being willing to push back against the personnel department there for the New England Patriots based off of what they gave him to work with the offensive line. We've heard, him and Matt Canada with the Pittsburgh Steelers when he was there, they kind of butted heads a little bit. I think having a guy who's going to go to war for his players, he's the one that's working with them closely each and every day. He's the one that, is kind of leading that room. I just think that he's a much better fit for what they need. And I think he's going to work a lot better alongside Ryan Grubb, which is going to make Grubb a better version of himself. So, I think it's a good coaching staff overall. I think they got to get better with special teams. Jay Nunez, that's one they decided to hang on to him this offseason. I said that I could see it going either way. If they chose to give him another year, I get it. We'll see what happens. But last year, whether it be putting the ball on the ground from a return perspective, whether it be allowing some big returns in some key games like against Oklahoma and some of those others, whether it be missing field goals, obviously the snapping wasn't where it needed to be. The punting was inconsistent. There were so many elements of special teams that were just so far off where it needed to be, a year ago. And I understand that they were replacing way more as far as their core special teams players from the previous year. And we probably don't talk about that enough, but now you've got a lot of those key players coming back. And so whether it be from a coverage unit perspective, a return perspective, the kicker, punter, long snapper, you've got to get more impact there. If they can do that, I believe in the rest of this coaching staff wholeheartedly, and I think they can do some really good things. But I think that all starts with this change of mentality with Adrian Clem and Richard Owens being brought in to kind of help run that offensive line tight end group. And then you brought in a lot of assistants who have helped tremendously as well. That's kind of the heart and soul of your team is trench play, and hopefully they take a step forward in year 3.
I wouldn't mind throwing Jared Johnson in that conversation at this point. Yeah. I know he's an analyst, but man, everything I've seen and heard with him being on that, I guess, defensive line staff now, I love it, man. I think it's going to end up paying dividends. So shout out to JJ getting some action with those guys, throwing on the suit, letting them get some real work in practice, preparing them for this first game. And I love it, man. Clint, good stuff as always, man. Before we let you run, tell everybody how they can keep up with all the good work you guys are doing over on the new platform, Bama Online, and everything you guys got planned for this upcoming season.
Yeah, you can find me over at BamaOnline.com. That's where all the editorial work, written work is going to be. You can find me on the Roundtable message board over at BamaOnline.com if you got any questions or whatever. But then also we still have the daily show and stuff. All you got to do is search Bama Online, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple, just wherever you listen. You can search Bama Online Podcast and you should be able to find it. So once again, Christian, it was great being able to hop on here with you again today. And I certainly look forward to next week. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate you and your time, brother. We'll talk soon.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Really good stuff.
I love when all the years that I has been in the media, I always work closely with a lot of the the day-by-day reporters, the national guys are cool. They're good on Saturdays and stories, or ESPN or whatever, SEC network, all that, a little bit broader, but those guys are day-to-day, right? They're day-to-day.
They're grinding.
The coaches and grinding. And if you really want pinpoint information, it normally comes their local reporters. So shout out to all the local reporters and the hard work that they put in. I've done both, but I know when it comes to covering teams, it's the local guys that you get the best information. So shout out to Clint and his staff and all the people there at Bama Online. Appreciate the hard work you do.
Absolutely. Good stuff. All right. Well, let's hit a timeout. We got to catch up a little bit. We'll have a quick one when we come back. We're going to the phone lines and getting Dominic on here because we missed him yesterday. So I got to get my guy on here. We'll talk with him and keep talking some Alabama football. Plus, we'll hear from Kane Womack, defensive coordinator, as well when we come back, who has spoken to the media right here.
By clients like Royal Cup Coffee and Tea, proud supporters of Crimson Tide, the Boss Company, one partner for everything your business needs.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-9.
Crimson Tide, sold in stadium and at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy.
That's 900-9000 for a free consultation. No fees unless we win. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than that of other lawyers.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves.
We're here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you,
aggressively pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A heat advisory in place through 9 p.m. tonight. Sunshine's in the forecast, hot 98. We'll see heat index values near 110 and a northwest breeze. A pop-up shower or storm this afternoon will linger into early this evening. Partly cloudy, muggy tonight, 75. Sunny, sizzling hot again tomorrow. Highs near 100, 99 on Thursday. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 95 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
A national championship team covering a national championship team. The best sports talk in the state. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Straight to the phone lines real quick because we got to catch up with Dominic that we missed out on yesterday. 205-342-9904. Dominic, welcome in.
How you doing, Kristen, man? A long call Alabama fan. My brother played at Alabama, DJ Hall. My cousin
nice.
Henry down here in Nassau County, man. Being a diehard Alabama fan. Actually spoke with when Coach Saban was there, my brother was there. He built the program. My frustration with the both is we are soft. I'm not trying to compare him to Coach Saban, but Coach Saban had to come in to clean up Coach shoes there. I was there to clean our program and get it to where we were respectful and everybody saw that what Coach Saban did. Not comparing him. I think he's a great coach, but he's soft. And Ryan Grubb, man, I just feel so hurt by our offensive line, like y'all was talking about yesterday. And I'm a firm believer as well. Everybody talking about Mac being in the program a long time. If it's close, it always should go to the younger guy over the veteran guy. And I'm a big, because I referee down here in Jacksonville, I'm a big fan of Keon Russell. I think he give us a better chance to, with our question mark on our offensive line, win, like the man said yesterday. What do you think about that? I just think it should be Keon Russell, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I was saying yesterday, man, like it's so tough because normally when you think of a young offense, a young offensive line, you're like, man, you probably feel a little bit better with the guy who's got a little bit more quote unquote experience, even though they both are very inexperienced. But then I also think I'm like, but if things are going south and you need a guy to improvise and to kind of save the day, that clearly is Keelan Russell. So it's like, the more I see him, man, it's just, his ability to escape the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, find targets, also use his legs, whether it's, predetermined with zone read stuff. I mean, he offers you so much that I feel like it's hard to not play a guy like that, especially if it is close. But I also can see a world where if it's really close, they at least respect the, loyalty factor with the guy like Austin Mack who's been in the system just to give him the chance. But I'm not saying that's what I would do, Dominic. I'm just saying I can see them doing that.
I'm big on loyalty, but this right here, when he hear Alabama fans say, "Look, bump loyalty right now." The best guy to give us a chance is Keon Russell. You do a poll right now, Alabama fans, they're gonna want Keon Russell. The kid is something. All that Austin Mack and everything, that's good. He could be a good backup, but the fans will be disappointed if you go with loyalty. And we're gonna get Brian Grubb. This is going to find. I don't say we fired the board, but if the boys start out front, we got to get Ryan Grubb out, because when Coach Saban was trying to get him, he was a hot commodity at Washington. He didn't want to leave him coming. But see how the Seahawks won the Super Bowl with him as an offensive coordinator, and they fired him. They won the Super Bowl last year, and that's concerning because he passed 85% of the time. In the SEC, you got to be able to control the line of scrimmage. If it ain't Keon Russell, I'm represent the guy and put Keon back.
Hold on, big dog. Hold on. But listen, I think you have excellent points. Okay, nobody's going to disagree with you on this decision if, in fact, that's the way they go. But I think I'm just piggybacking what Christian was saying. Like if he for some reason did what I thought, I'm a veteran guy. I'm an old school guy. I'm a guy that has put the time in. And if it's close, I normally will be that guy to give the edge to the veteran guy, right? The more experienced guy. Now, if the younger guy has more of an upside but doesn't beat him out, I can't just put him in front of that next guy unless my expectations are different. That's all I'm saying. So I think it go either way. I do now think, after talking to so many people, it's going to be Russell. I think it just makes sense when your offensive line is probably not going to be as good, especially early. Sure. So I think it's the right decision because his ability to improvise and make plays downfield.
I pray that he has one game on Thursday, so we won't have to hear this bullcrap back, man. I hope he make all the receivers good on Thursday, so I don't got to hear all this about no man. Get the man. I'm ready for y'all to say Keelan Russell our quarterback, bro. I feel a lot much better with that.
I think your prayer will be answered, brother. I think it'll be answered.
We'll know something soon, Dominic.
Because like you said, we play East Carolina. Put him in there, man. This man, what if we don't put him in there? We gonna end up losing him, bro. I'm being honest, man. Kids are not waiting like when Coach Saban was there, when my cousin DJ Hart and all of them was there. Kids are not waiting no more because the NIL done messed it up, man. We are laughing stock now with Coach the boy at Alabama, man. I'm in Jacksonville. That's all they talk. Oh, y'all soft. Yeah, our coach, look at he got a little bit. Then when he came there, he changed the starting point. Did y'all think we practice in the morning with Coach Saban? Did we practice?
Not often. No, there was a couple fall camps where we had like the two-a-day thing where we went early.
I was at the Tallahassee game. They talking about it was too hot because he practiced the guys in the morning. Come on, Kristen. I don't wish nobody get fired. I want Coach DeVos to do good, but as loyal Alabama fans, we can't be losing the teams that we shouldn't be losing to. If we lose, it can't be we got punished like Indiana, like we did Florida State. We lose a game, it could be a nail biter where we not getting dominated like he did. He had bad losses. That's why Alabama fans are so upset.
Yeah, well, wow. I think that's the biggest thing. If they can clean that part of the consistency, or I should say inconsistency, right? They're consistent at dropping something they probably shouldn't, and that's probably the worst. But yeah, I think they're in a good spot moving forward. This year, I guess there's a lot of question marks, but I will say, 2028. There are a lot of reasons to be eager for that unit. So, Dominic, really good stuff, man. I appreciate it.
I come to Tuscaloosa on the third game of the season against Florida State, 17-19. I got my ticket. And I don't want to be in no game person and seeing us getting blown off the line of scrimmage, bro. That's embarrassing.
Well, hopefully that's not the case, man. We in Adrian Clem, we're going to trust, man. Dominic, we appreciate you, brother. Hey, great stuff, man.
All right, bro.
Yes, sir. Good stuff. We got to hit a timeout, man. Really fun phone call right there. Dominic, man, in Jacksonville. We appreciate him. Quick timeout. We come back. We keep rolling. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-91.
Score up to $2,500 cash. Drop on in and find your big win at Pearl River Resorts. Must be 21 or older to play.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We're here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation.
On Skyland Boulevard, Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. For those who know the difference, Mercedes-of-Tuscaloosa.com. Mercedes-of-Tuscaloosa.com.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Hey, y'all. This is Alabama offensive lineman William Sanders, and you're listening to Tide 100.9, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
back in real quick segment right here on this Talking Tuesday. Just finished up talking to Dominic. He said he wants to see some physicality come back. Well, if you were wondering about that and how that's going so far, here's Aaron Taylor. I'm sure my dad's familiar with Aaron. He is a member of the Joe Moore Award. He presented the Joe Moore Award to the offensive line that I was teammates with in 2015. But he recently took a trip to Tuscaloosa to check things out during fall camp, and he walked away with some rave reviews. So if you guys are hoping to see some physicality, especially in the running game, let's hear what Aaron Taylor thinks about where things currently stand.
We all know the talk all offseason about whether or not Kalen DeBoer can fill Nick Saban's shoes or who's going to start at quarterback. I'm here to tell you it's going to be the offensive line that shuts up and ends all that talk. Alabama will be able to run the football this year, full stop. That's the headline. The improvements year over year for what I saw in this unit after just watching them live for 2 hours with my own eyes is night and day. When they got to the second level, they didn't just go up and try to settle into the linebacker. They were running through those boys. They came to one-on-ones. They dominated that drill. All across the board, through the 2 deep, offensive line using their hands, punching, trusting their technique, and starting the fight. Now, the defense, of course, because this is Alabama, they're going to be stout. And they made some plays, but it was noticeable, particularly in the explosive runs right through the heart of the defense. All throughout practice didn't matter the drill. There were explosive home run hits, and I'm telling you, running back 13, Crowell, that dude can go. See, when it comes to offensive line play, details are the difference. And the new O-line coach, Adrian Clem, if you're a young buck out there, bring your butt to Alabama. Incredible job of coaching. I look at the depth of drill. Do you take 3 steps and stop when you're doing down blocks or double teams or base blocks coming off the ball? No, they were going 5, 6, 7 yards downfield. When you go further downfield in practice, then when it comes to the game, you're going to get the 4 or 5 yards downfield that I saw at any time last year on tape from Alabama was the physicality at the point of attack. Hey, and be sure to check out our 1-hour live special.
So that was Aaron Taylor, again, highly respected in the industry, played the game. He's an analyst. He works the Joe Moore Award. So if you're talking about offensive line play, I'm pretty sure Aaron knows what he's talking about. However, let me add a quick little detail. Initially, that clip dropped yesterday, but I'm pretty sure it actually was filmed prior and then uploaded, right? He mentioned Crowell. Crowell, to my knowledge, did not practice. So more than likely that clip was old. However, that's still a rave review coming from somebody who's highly respected, played the position, all that good stuff. We'll respond to that when we come back to this quick timeout right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230.
Clients like Royal Cup Coffee and Tea, proud supporters of Crimson Tide, the Boss Company, one partner for everything your business needs.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-91.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed-sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves.
We're here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors.
Late. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Roll Tide, the best sports talk, period. Your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We just heard from Aaron Taylor, rave reviews about Alabama's running game. He was fired up about it. I just had mentioned during the timeout that, and you made a great point. This is what I was trying to say about the whole Scout take when someone said, well, Scout said the quarterback battle's not close. Well, you can't base things off of one day, one performance, right? I trust the staff that sees it each and every single day. Even like with my thoughts, just seeing a scrimmage, that does not compare to coaches seeing what they see every day. That's why I'm not going to walk away and then have, final judgment off of what I saw in the scrimmage and what I think this team will be. That's just one day. And just like you mentioned, we know better than anybody. As a football player, people don't think about these little things, especially during fall camp. You know how many nagging things you're dealing with? Even it's like a little bruise on your heel. Something as small as a blister on your foot can throw you off. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to sound soft. I'm saying just think about it. Imagine like little things that you don't really think about. It's not going to pop up on an injury report. Your ankle's tweaked a little bit. You know what I mean? Like your calf is tight. You just never know. So I believe, and I'll be honest with you, I've been talking to people before the scrimmage. They were, I wouldn't say hyping up the offensive line in the run game, but they definitely were speaking highly in the sense that, hey, man, they've been doing some good stuff so far through fall camp. So I believe what Aaron Taylor saw, right? And I respect his opinion, but I also know he's making his tour. So, of course, and I know as a member of the media, when you do your presentation, you're going to click. You know what I'm saying? You're going to make it sound good and all that. But so just interesting stuff. But I was like, you know what? The timing of this is good because right now, coming off of scrimmage one, it's like, okay, this is interesting. But then hearing Ryan Grubb speak highly of the running game in the last couple of days, hearing a clip like this, it's got me fired up, man. Scrimmage too. Let's see it. Let's see it.
We're going to know Friday because Thursday is Move Thursday. So what we hear come Friday is going to tell us a lot. So 3 more days, folks. 3 more sleeps, as they say. We're going to know a little bit more truth about this. 2 more about this football team. So 2 more sleeps, and we're going to be good to go. Don't forget to go to thegiantsforchrist.com, check out the book, order it, pre-order it. We'll get to you. I'll sign it for you. Don't forget my good friends at Pearl River Resort, and check them out. I'll do my read on tomorrow and tell you more about that. Pearl River Resort.
There you go. Well, while you're doing reads, let me go ahead and read off Lamparello-law.com. You guys already know the drill. Check them out for all your representation needs. If you guys are in any need of any services, right, whether that's criminal misconduct situation you find yourself in, right, or academic misconduct, NIL, and you need somebody to represent you at an affordable rate and they'll go to bat for you, look no further than Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy, plus all those services for high school, college, and graduate students, academic and career planning. Of course, they also offer things like test taking, preparation, exam preparation, all that good stuff. Check them out, Lamparello-law.com. That is the official representation right here on the Miller's Edge, Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. That'll do it for us in this Talking Tuesday edition. Big thanks to Read Behind the Glass, all you guys listening via Tide 100.9, the global app, any of our streaming platforms. We always appreciate you guys and all you do for us right here on the Miller's Edge, and we look forward to doing it again tomorrow right here at Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.